And welcome in, everybody, to the Philly Sports Alliance Offseason Roundtable #1, the free agency preview. As always, Eric,
How are
welcome,
you?
welcome in. We're going to talk a little free agency here as we are less than 24 hours till the tampering period, the legal
Yeah,
tampering period.
legal tampering. Gotta love that expression.
Right? It is the funniest
Yeah,
oxymoron that there is in sports. Hey, what's going on, Daniel? How's it going, buddy? As always. Yeah, so basically, we're just gonna kind of break things down on a
hmm
very easy level as far as maybe what the positions need, what some of the available free agents are in those positions, how much money that we're going to be able to play with.
right.
Yeah, and just kind of overall give a free agency preview as the start of this next couple of days is going to be pretty intense. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's gonna be a fun one. It's gonna be great. I can't wait. Hopefully, Eagles add some talented players.
you know
What
what?
up,
Like
guys?
I always look at this time of year as like we went through that lull of the Super Bowl. Like typically when the Eagles aren't in it, which is most years, I watch the Super Bowl in kind of a haze.
All but a few, yeah.
Yeah, in kind of a haze, like just kind of waiting for like
The off season,
the next big thing to happen for the
right?
Eagles. And now is that time where it's like I feel like I'm awakening from that slumber,
Yeah,
and
it's time to figure out the off season and
it's
get better.
yeah, it starts at the combine, and I get completely wrapped up in the college guys,
Sure do.
and
Yeah.
then it's on to free agency. Looking forward to seeing, like everybody always says, you build with the draft and you supplement with free agency. Well, and it's funny because you start off with free agency, then you have the draft.
That's the one thing I will say
Yeah,
I've always been a little uh backwards about
right.
and wondering why they have it like that.
I
Um
almost prefer the NBA's way of where like they have the draft and then you have free agency.
yeah. Yeah, I think that's the right way of
hmm
doing it. Um but
Yes, I am back. Actually, I didn't go anywhere. I've been here.
I mean,
Yeah,
where'd you go?
I mean, I was probably drunk a good amount of time, but like
He
as while I'm drinking a beer.
right. So join us, guys. Crack open a beer as well, and just have a little fun.
Yeah.
We're going to talk some positions, and we're going to talk some free agents here. Now, first and foremost, according to Over the Cap, looks like the Eagles have just under $43 million to play with.
Yeah.
Not bad, not bad
No,
considering
that's really good for, and I mean,
for Howie.
yeah.
Howie's done a lot more with a lot less.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
yeah, no. So certainly going to be interesting to see how much of that money he really puts into free agency. And as you said, generally you do supplement the team with free agency, but
Right.
I think right now we have so many holes, there's so many needs.
And so many holes at positions that normally the Eagles don't like to spend a lot of draft capital on,
Mhm.
namely safety and your favorite, the linebacker
That's right.
position.
That's right. So yeah, well, who knows? I mean, those are the top two needs,
hmm
in my eyes. And I know that they've already been linked to a bunch here and
Yeah,
there, and everybody with the new coaches, the coordinators that we have, everybody's going to link anybody and everybody that's ever played with them.
sure. Like
Whether it be,
Christian Wilkins.
yeah. I mean,
Uh,
listen,
I mean, I'd be in.
I'm okay with
Yeah,
that. But yes,
please link away.
right. So I would hope that perhaps that the Eagles kind of do what you said, almost supplement their
hmm
team through free agency. And I don't necessarily want them to go crazy, but there are some nice positions that I feel like, especially like looking at safety.
Yeah.
I feel like there are a ton
hmm
of safeties available that have recently hit the market that have been kind of cut. Dobbs is making a drink.
All right, let's go,
There you
Dive.
go.
Hey, we're already what, too deep, so
Yeah, we did a little pregame and before our pregame. So, but yeah, listen, This is the fun part of the offseason.
Yeah.
You know, regardless of however anybody's team did, it's a fresh start. And this is how you start the path to the Super Bowl is through free agency. So let's first concentrate on the defense because that's
Mhm.
obviously our biggest need here.
And again, another spot where you tend to supplement, like in positions like linebacker and safety, which are two glaring weaknesses the Eagles have. That's been kind of their MO. Like they want to supplement in free agency at those positions and they want to draft along the lines.
Yeah. Looks like the Ives is breaking some news. Looks like Kevin Byard, formerly of the Eagles, to
Right.
the beard. This says beard. He obviously fixes it
They're
here
gonna sign with my beard.
with the
All
Bears.
right,
Yeah,
let's go.
yeah. So there you go. I mean, Byard was cut, so he was able to sign with
Right.
anybody. Didn't necessarily, and there are a lot of people out there
Yeah, he
that
doesn't
are.
have to wait till the league.
Yeah,
starts.
there's a lot of people that have recently been cut. So there are those teams that are the players that are going to be able to sign with some teams. But yes, speaking of safeties, I think we'll start there.
Sure.
Recently, there have been a plethora of safeties that have been recently either released or just in general are going to be available. And obviously this is a huge need for the Eagles. And
Mhm.
when you also factor in Vic Fangio and his system and how much safeties are a very big part of that,
Sure.
you would hope that Howie and Nick and Vic got together and said, "Hey, listen, we need
Yeah.
some safeties." And I'm hoping they did the same thing for linebackers because that's another important position, in this system for him. But just looking at
Yeah.
some of the names, Jamal Adams, Justin Simmons,
Mhm.
these guys recently just got cut. You have Eddie Jackson, another guy who got cut.
Mhm.
Quandre Diggs, again, another Seattle. The Seattle cut both of their starting safeties,
Yes.
which is crazy. You also have Buda Baker, who how many times have we been linked to that guy over the last
Oh my
year?
god, it seems like every year we're linked to
Right. You have Micah Hyde, you have
Mhm.
Rashawn Jenkins, Chauncey Gardner Johnson, Tracy Walker, Jordan Poyer, Jordan Whitehead, Jaron Curse from Dallas, Adrian Phillips. I mean,
Mhm.
geez, Darnell Savage, another name I wouldn't necessarily mind.
Oh,
Um,
I was a big fan of Darnell Savage when he was coming out of the draft.
yeah, Xavier McKinney, who is a big Eagle
Mhm.
favorite here. There's Geno
Mhm.
Stone from Baltimore. He's barely, he's not even 25. There's a lot of really great names, and there's some
Did
nice
Winfield get
bets.
locked up?
What?
Did Winfield get locked up by the Bucks? Did they?
I thought he got tagged.
Oh, did he get tagged?
Yeah,
Okay.
I believe he officially got
Yeah,
tagged.
since when they did Mike Evans and they took care of him.
Yeah, it took care of him,
Yeah,
and
because he was another guy I was keeping an eye on, thinking I wanted the Eagles to go out and get.
yeah. Listen, that is certainly he was one of the top guys, and
Sure, and I imagine there were a lot of fan bases saying, "Hey, we'd love to get Antoine Winfield in here."
sure, yeah. I mean, that's a great point, Eric. Thank you for kind of reminding me about the tags. Let's really quickly go through them because they have kind of taken a good amount of people off the board.
Right.
So Josh Allen from the Jaguars, he's somebody that I was loving, obviously, linebacker. He got tagged by the Jags. Brian Burns got tagged by Carolina. Again, another one that I would have loved here
Oh yeah,
in Eagle Green. Kyle Duggar from the Patriots. He's again a young 27-year-old coming off a really good season, safety. T. Higgins, wide receiver from Cincinnati.
It's funny. I keep wondering what they're going to do in Cincinnati with their receivers because they're going to have to pay Jamar Chase next year.
Yeah,
and now with T. Higgins, like I mean that's a lot of money to tie up in two positions or one position.
Yeah.
which the Eagles have that same issue with them. Devontae Smith, his contract's going to be coming up.
Yeah.
And so you've already got A.J. Brown and his current contract situation. That's something to keep an eye on, how the Eagles are going to handle that.
Yeah.
You know,
No,
going forward.
you're right. And we'll get to the offense. Sad week to see Cox and Kelsey retired. Yeah.
Mhm.
Obviously, before we came on, Fletcher Cox
Yeah.
officially retired today. That's two of the big four that retired in the same week. And, Brandon Graham has already made it known that this is going to be his last year. He signed a 1-year deal for about $4 million with the Eagles. And then you have Lane Johnson, who recently said,
he plans on playing out his contract, which I know is 2 more years.
Right. So, yeah, he's probably got another 2-3 years in him. And, again, I think it's going to be just a changing of the guard. Unfortunately, you've had, 4 players that have been with this team well over a decade. And 91, 62 ain't going to be on that field.
It's
going to be sad. It's going to be a sad day to, once we get out there in Lincoln Financial Field and see that, and just not see them out there. So, yeah, so that kind of is what it is. But moving on again, Jalen Johnson, a corner from the Bears, got tagged. Justin, man, I always butcher this guy's name.
Matabuki?
Yeah, thank you. He got tagged, but then he signed a long-term deal.
Right. Yeah, because they have up until July to do a long-term
right,
deal.
Yeah. Michael Pittman Jr. From the Colts. L'Jarius Sneed. Again, a very polarizing and familiar name for Eagle fans that wanted this year. There's Anton Winfield. And listen, there were a few that didn't get tagged that I think we all realized or was thinking were going to get tagged. The New York Giants had a few.
Sure.
They didn't tag Barkley. They didn't tag McKinney.
No, neither one. I thought they may not franchise Barkley again because this would be the second year, and so his tag would have been bigger. I really thought McKinney might get tagged by then.
I thought so too. And then again, another name that you mentioned earlier, Christian Wilkins, the D tackle from the Miami Dolphins with the Fangio connection. The fact that we just lost Fletcher Cox. A lot of people are very concerned about where those snaps are going to go.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So. And look, it's a legitimate question. And that's the beautiful thing. They don't have a game this Sunday. So you don't have to worry about that yet. They can figure that out between now and then.
Yeah. Lane and Brandon going to retire next season. Well, Brandon definitely. He's already said that this is his last go around. Again, Lane, last time he was kind of asked about it, he did say he would play out his contract.
Yeah, in fact, he got kind of, I wouldn't say snarky because I feel like that's too strong a term.
Well, that.
But he got a little snippy about, in response to asked about whether or not he was going to retire. He's like, I don't know where that rumor came from. My plan is to play out my contract.
Did you see him fireman's carry like 700 pounds? And it's little, oh my God.
Yeah, dude is strong as hell.
I know. Well, there's a reason why he had the longest streak of no sacks.
Yeah, I was gonna say he hasn't allowed a sack since I was a freaking junior in high school.
So listen, Star Wars 99, you might be right. And it just might be kind of one of those things where we had 2 this year, we might have 2 next year.
Right.
And listen, I would assume that these players have these conversations with
Howie, that conversation has to come. Well, and not only with Howie, but amongst the boys. They have to be talking about it and saying, like, when Brandon Graham came out and announced that this was going to be his last year, that wasn't the first time he had thought about that and said that to anybody.
Yeah, no. So I would assume that, listen, I think maybe it might be an indicator. If Eagles go and grab a tackle in the first round, that maybe Lane said, hey, this is going to be it. Yeah. So perhaps.
But I kind of thought when I heard Brandon Graham say this was going to be his last year, I was kind of hoping that the 4 guys were all going to let's get the band together, one last run, and then let's all ride off into the sunset.
Yeah. Apparently not. Apparently half of them had another idea.
Yeah, everyone said, "No, screw that. We're out of here." I'm going home.
Michael, what's going on, buddy? I think the Eagles draft that left tackle from Oklahoma, Guyton, in the first
Mhm.
round this year. Listen, I think he is a wonderful tackle.
Mhm.
I just would be violently mad if they grabbed a tackle. I understand
Sure.
we love our offensive line here, and we want to keep the status quo of
Sure.
having the best offensive line in NFL. We just lost a Hall of Famer.
We just lost the best that I ever saw at his position.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
look, we've each watched our fair share of football.
yeah,
I feel like I can speak for you when I say that he's also the best center you ever seen.
yes, yeah. And we've seen some really good ones.
Yeah.
The Pouncey twins,
Mhm.
even oh God, Jeff Saturday,
Yeah.
Winters,
Stefnowski from the Cowgirls. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I'm sure we could go down a list, but
Yeah.
yeah, you're right. And they are great players, as Star Wars 99 says.
Absolutely.
So listen, well, I just think this is the year that you don't necessarily have the luxury of doing what you normally do, and that's going out there and drafting for next year. You need
Now,
impact
you
players.
said you'd be angry if they did it, and I understand why. Would you be surprised if they did?
Oh no,
Yeah.
no, that's a different story.
Okay.
Yeah, nothing. You know what?
Not much
The one thing that would surprise me if they went ahead and they drafted a linebacker in that first round. That would surprise me because one, I don't think there is a linebacker that's first round, or that will get drafted in the first round. And two, they just don't do it. We all know 1979.
1979.
Blah blah blah. We get it. Michael says the best center of all time, Michael Webster from the Steelers. I mean, he was very good.
Sure.
I don't know. Listen, I think you looking at today's game and the game back then, it was different.
Absolutely.
So kind of almost just like how it's hard to compare different eras in like NBA. It's hard to do that for football too when you really get down to it. Jason Kelsey is an A- to Mike Webster's A+. Listen,
I just look, you can, and I agree Mike Webster's an A+ center, but to say that Jason Kelsey's not an A+ center, I think is a tad disrespectful.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's not for us to necessarily say one way or the other, and to be able to say, again, I never saw him live.
Right. I only saw like replays,
clips, and yeah,
clips.
exactly.
Yeah.
So there's a difference there. So I necessarily can't say that that I know for sure either way. But anyway, that's not what this is about. Anyway, so yeah, so what was I saying? Getting back to safeties.
Yeah.
So as I mentioned, it's a pretty important, considering that the only safeties that we have right now is Reed Blankenship and it's Sidney Brown, who we don't know when he's going to be healthy.
Right. And even when healthy, I like Sidney Brown a lot.
Oh, I do too.
But I wonder, like, I would love him in that third safety role. Somebody you roll out and when you're in quarters defense, or again, a great special teams guy. You know me, I love my special teams guys.
Yeah, listen, I almost kind of feel like you have to almost pretend like he's not on your team.
Yeah.
And kind of draft and go after players in that ilk of like, hey, when he comes back, it's a bonus. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So if you plan for that way, he comes back and listen, maybe he doesn't come back as early as you think, and
sure,
a slew of things that could happen. But I'm just saying, you really only have Reed Blankenship, and I think Reed for this upcoming season should be your third safety.
Yeah,
in my opinion. That's just me. I remember the Eagles drafting Jerry Robinson in the first round, so it would shock me if the Eagles drafted a linebacker in the first round, right?
Yeah, sure.
As we said, yeah. Eagles will draft O-line, D-line in the first round. You're right. Typically,
look, and that's a safe statement to make.
I mean, outside of that, wide receiver they've done recently, and
wide receiver, and
that's about it.
Yeah, wide receiver, offensive, defensive line, and aside from 2016 when you took Carson Wentz,
right? Yeah. Yeah, no, you're not wrong. You're not wrong there. And listen, I honestly I hope they go D line. I hope they
Yeah.
go an edge. I think
It's not like a Chop Robinson. Or,
yeah, again, there's
there's plenty.
Verse,
Yeah.
Latu. I mean, again, it all depends on kind of where they fall. Right now, it's still a lot of those kind of are still up in the air as far as where they may end up.
Right.
And again, it also depends on who needs what and yada yada yada. 9-7 Phillies. Oh, Phillies
All
win.
right.
Good
Let's
job.
go Phils.
I would draft a DB in the first round, just like lead up. Yeah, that's another one. There are really good corners. You need to kind of figure yourself out there. Well, I think it's different with the Lane thing versus the Slay thing. Let's just say
Oh yeah.
you need to prepare for life without Slay. You also need to prepare for life without Lane Johnson. Where Lane Johnson, it's either Lane Johnson or it's not Lane Johnson.
Right. Whereas
Slay, it's Slay and somebody
And you
else
need
and maybe somebody else, and then there's other people that come in, and it's only Lane Johnson.
Right.
So, to say, all right, well, let's say we draft Quinyon Mitchell in the first round, or trade for L'Jarius Sneed or whatever. We get another guy, and we can mark him as the next, the replacement for Slay for next year,
Right.
so to speak. But you can also have him and Slay be out there, and the transition, you'll have a
right. And you can start that transition, and
right.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. So yes, I think when it comes to safeties, I think you need to treat the roster as if you only have Reed Blankenship. I would love for them to go out and sign a safety. I just mentioned about 15 of them, I feel like. I would love for them to go young because Reed is a young guy. Sidney Brown is a young guy. I would love for them to draft a safety some point in the first couple rounds, whether it be Newbin or Kitchens or, maybe Bullard, whatever.
Right.
There's a couple of guys. So yeah, whatchamacallit. So that would be great to add somebody like an Xavier McKinney,
Right.
somebody like that, that maybe is in that, 26, 27, range, and that would then come in and be your elder, so to speak. Again, and I would be all right with bringing back Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. What are your thoughts on that?
I'd be all in favor of bringing back Chauncey Gardner-Johnson.
Yeah.
I didn't really want to let him go to begin with.
Well, there's also that. Yeah. I like Ringo as a starter opposite Slay. Then you draft a DB. Yeah, listen, I like Ringo too, and I really loved him coming out of the draft last year. I don't know how the Eagles feel about him kind of essentially getting that starting role. Hopefully, God willing, hopefully they don't just say, well, Bradbury's here, we got to start him, right? Like,
yeah, no, we don't.
no. So yeah, I get that, but again, I feel like if a situation falls in your lap and you have a guy, you go ahead and you bring him in, and then you can bring Ringo along, and maybe next year he can take that opposite starting spot of say a Quinyon Mitchell or a L'Jarius Sneed or whomever is brought in opposite. Sign Justin Simmons. I like Justin Simmons. I like the Van Gio.
Yeah,
it's just. I feel like this would have been great a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what is he, 30 now?
He's 30.
Yeah.
In fact, yeah.
Which I love that, us in our mid 40s are talking about at 30 years old. Oh man,
mid.
I'm gonna be 44 in August.
Right, I'm not.
Okay, fine. Me in my mid 40s. You in your
early
to mid 40s.
Early 40s. Super early 40s.
Okay.
Latu or Verse falling to us at 22, that would be ideal.
That would be ideal.
I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't think there's any way, especially not Latu.
I think there's no way. All right, but think about it. Think about it this way. I do not put anything past anything.
Sure.
We have watched enough drafts to know that crazy things will happen. I mean, think about it. Last year, Last year, we were all like, "Oh, Nolan Smith at 10. Let's go, Nolan Smith at 10."
Yeah,
And
sure.
what happened?
He was there at 30.
He was there at 30.
And it was not, like when I was doing my mock drafts last year, I kept thinking, I'm like, okay,
Jalen Carter,
like,
top pick.
Yeah.
He falls to us. Like,
and I kept thinking, I'm like, oh man, if this happens, like if Jalen Carter were to fall to us, I'd be ecstatic. And then I remember looking at me like, oh man, and I'd love if Nolan Smith fell to 30. I'm like, there's no way.
There's
and
no
then
way.
as I kept doing it, I kept being like,
Oh,
okay, who's taking him here? Okay, this guy makes sense here. This guy makes sense there.
Yeah.
And there he was. Whenever I'd reach that 30, like, I'd get to like at 28, 29, and I'd be thinking, I'm like, okay, somewhere in here it's got to be Nolan Smith. Like,
you think?
And I even started to think, I'm like, should I have the Eagles trade up in that spot, like up to like 27, 26, and try to go get him?
Yeah.
And then he fell to us at 30.
Yeah. Michael says, well, Bradbury to the slot. Is the slot like a specific part of the bench? And I'm not aware of the slot.
I think it's like that spot in the middle of the offensive and defensive sides of the bench. I think that's
they just call it like a slot. Got it.
Yeah,
that makes sense. Okay, good. Yeah, we'll have him perfectly right there. Yeah. The Eagles' track record of signing corners outside of Troy Vincent are not good at all. Yes, I'm sure. I'm not trying to get violently angry here. Okay,
it's a Sunday afternoon. We're just trying to chill and have a good time.
Right? You're trying to bring up Namdi Asamoah like as if I'm not going to flip this freaking table on you. Come on now. Oh my!
If we suddenly just go off the air without any warning, you know what happened.
His fault.
Yeah.
Michael, well, Jalen slipped like Randy Moss because of his off the field issues.
Yeah.
Yes, obviously.
And I love how they call it off the field issues. Like, did he kill a couple of people with his car or something?
I mean, okay, he was involved when somebody died. Let's just say that. I mean, he's not like Ray Lewis. He didn't like murder somebody. Good Lord.
Well, he's apparently allowed to be celebrated, so
you're not wrong. Oh, come on. No, I'm not even gonna put that out, Martian. Nope, not doing it. You're not fooling me today.
Not baiting us today.
Nope, not
We're gonna
doing
stay
it.
in a good damn mood, you son of a
right. So yes, the DBs need to get fixed because again, I would ideally love a sign and a draft for a safety.
Yeah.
I would love, granted, I'd love the same thing for linebacker, but for corner.
Anybody who had the 29-minute mark, it's the first time Ryan brought up wanting to get 2 linebackers. You win.
Oh, I didn't know that was on the table. Yeah, listen, that's always in my head.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I almost kind of want to have that idea of like Dean. You don't even count Dean. I mean, Van Summer, and he's not even in the equation, but and you go out about and try and fix and bring in linebacker. You sign a star linebacker. You bring in another vet. You draft Cooper, Peyton Willis, Trot Jr., whomever, and then you have those 3 with Dean. Pressure's off Dean to be the guy. He can just kind of
grow into his role.
Right. And linebacker position fully fixed.
Yeah, look, I'd be in favor of it. I know you would be as well.
Backflips, my friends. Backflips. You want to see a grown man do a backflip that he hasn't tried in 23 and a half years?
Hold on. Does that mean you were 19 years old doing backflips?
I could, yeah.
I got to be honest, even at 19, I was never trying one.
I didn't say it was like greatly successful.
I
landed it and didn't kill myself. So I think with Fangio, with a defensive coordinator that you can trust, just like Andy with Jim Johnson, Doug P with Jim Schwartz. Yeah, listen, I think he is a solid defensive coordinator. And again, you're bringing in guys that have shown success at the position that they're hired at. So I like Kellen Moore. Again, I like his success. I like what he is able to do with.
I like the fact that he's been an offensive coordinator somewhere, and like he knows how to call plays. He knows how to adjust to in-game situations.
Hey, Anthony. How are you, buddy?
Hey, Anthony.
Yeah, no, you're right. But all right, so we talked about corners, we talked about safeties. I know we just briefly touched on linebackers, but let's because I don't necessarily know if how the Eagles are going to handle the linebacking position. It can kind of go a multitude of different ways, but just to name a few of the linebackers that are available, regardless of, I'm sure everybody's going to call out, oh, they don't fit the scheme. Oh, let them do it. Whatever.
Yeah.
Danielle Hunter,
Yeah.
Randy Gregory, Jerome Baker, who I love. He's 27. Love. Zadarius Smith, Devin White, another guy that I really love out of Tampa, Leonard Floyd, Eric Kendricks, Josie Jewell from Denver, again, Vic Fangio connection. You have Bobby Wagner still kicking around, Isaiah Simmons, Jordan Hicks, the old Philadelphia Eagle, Aziz Al-Shair, Frankie Louvu, Levante David, Bryce Huff is more of an edge, I guess, officially. Devin Bush, Kenneth Murray, guy who I think doesn't really get talked about enough. I loved him coming out of Oklahoma with the Chargers. Again, young. Jordan Brooks, same thing, came out the same draft.
Yeah, and I like those guys. They're coming off their rookie contracts.
Yeah.
And these are guys, like, obviously they're looking to get paid. Everybody is.
Oh, yeah, sure.
But, like, they're younger, they're hungrier, and you can build a defense around those guys.
Yeah. Patrick Queen, who come on, you know how much I was drooling over him at the draft.
Oh yeah.
Andrew Van Ginkel, again, Miami, Fangio connection. There's a couple other halfway decent names here. And then of course Willie Gay Jr.
Yeah,
I mean, again, there's Juan Alexander if he has anything left. Anthony Walker Jr. I don't mind. But yeah, listen, I feel like more than this year than any, there's a lot more free agents overall. So yeah. It looks like the Phillies win. Anthony, I don't trust Kellen Moore.
Okay. I heard he had some bad things to say about you too.
Oh, snap. That's messed up. I heard the 49ers might release Greenlaw or whatever his name is. Trey Greenlaw?
Yeah. Guy got hurt in the Super Bowl.
He tore his Achilles.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Just running onto the field. Man, that sucks.
I mean, I'll take him or Fred Warner.
Sure.
I'm good with either one. I would sign Queen for the Ravens. Yeah, I feel like he's the ultimate. Like if Howie was just going to say, you know what, F it, I'm going throwing big time into linebacker. I'm throwing money around. That's the guy who I'd want because not only is he young, you can sign him up for the next 4 or 5 years, and he can anchor your defense in such a way. He's great against the coverage. He's great against the run. He's good pass rush. I think he's just an all-around great player. Young Devin Bush, definitely, but not now.
I understand your point.
There, Bush,
but he's still young.
Yeah, how old is Devin Bush? Yeah, wait a minute. Devin Bush is not even 26. Are you thinking of somebody else? Devin Bush is 26. You must be.
Boy, what are we going? We're 26 is now old, man. We're really ancient.
Yeah. Calabar is a Cowboy for okay, well that explains why he doesn't like him.
I understand, the vehement hatred. I had the same feeling for Chris Bonio back in the day when we signed him.
There you go. And what about DeMarco Murray? That's another guy I never trusted.
I always thought he was a Cowboy spy sent to ruin our season.
Well, he did.
Yep,
he did. Greenlaw and Dom should shoot a fan when Howie signs them. Yeah, that would be really funny. Listen, I just think if I'm heading into this offseason and free agency starts tomorrow at noon, essentially.
Yeah.
I'm calling up Patrick Queen. I'm calling up, somebody like an Xavier McKinney. And yeah, that's who I'm starting. I'm starting strong with a linebacker and
Oh,
a safety out the
absolutely.
gate.
Yeah.
Like just
Well, why are you doing this to us? I feel like
I
this is
know.
my
Just
fault.
ignore it. I'm not sure about Van Ginkle. I agree. I feel like, and listen, maybe he just might be a product of the system, so
Sure.
then he'd be fine. But yeah, come on, Martian.
I'm going to take responsibility for that.
Yeah,
I feel like
that's
this is on
100% your
me
fault.
for even bringing them up.
You
Yeah.
did. You brought up You brought up him.
Yeah. He was the first one I brought up. No, I deserve it. Go ahead. I got it.
Nah, it's all right. I'll let you slide on this one. Why is that not working? The only cowboy. Oh wait, the only cowboy I want because he wants to be an Eagle is Michael Parsons, who grew up an Eagles fan. Yeah, I mean, listen, I'd take him in a heartbeat.
Come on down.
The Eagles should have Jason Garrett as the offensive guru.
So you
nah,
okay.
he's being
Okay.
Yeah, he's basically saying that's essentially what it is. Yeah. But yeah, hey, listen, thank you guys, everybody in the comments of again, who you guys like, who you want.
And who you don't like. I like the way this is steering.
There's a lot of who we don't like.
Yeah.
All right, so we talked about safeties, corners, linebackers. I want to talk a little bit about edge.
Okay.
There's some really nice names. And again, first, before we talk about free agent names, we need to talk about our own.
Hassan Reddick,
yeah. Josh Sweat. Both of them have been rumored in trade speculation.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are freaking out of saying, "Oh my God, what are we gonna do? Are we gonna trade both of them and you're starting Nolan Smith and Brandon Graham? Like, what are you doing?" And listen, I'll be here to tell you and to calm you all down. The Eagles, the percent chance of the Eagles trading away Hassan Reddick and Josh Sweat in the same off season, you're saying 0?
Absolutely.
Okay, I was going to say like 1%.
Okay, so not far off from my.
I think that might be a crazy, but I feel like they'd already have somebody in the chamber.
Okay, yeah,
that they've already signed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got you.
And listen, I get it. You know what? I think the reason why both names are out there is I think they're just gauging which one's going to be able to get them more back.
Sure. Now, if you were a GM of another team, which one would you want to give up more for?
Probably Sweat. He's younger.
That's to me, that's the number one key.
Yeah.
Which one's younger?
Like again, and also he would be cheaper. Years. He'd be cheaper right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I highly doubt it's going to happen. So, how much does the Eagles have cap wise? Anthony says, just right now, just under $42 million. In fact, or just under $43 million. Sorry. Hold on. I just had it up here. Of course, I don't know what the hell this is. $42,959,107. According to
$107 is going to make a difference.
Oh, yeah. Throw that on the end of a contract. This is all, of course, according to overthecap.com. So again, that certainly could change. There are certainly some extensions, some restructuring that still can happen, and I believe every
next couple days are going to be
right. I believe every year how he kind of does this, where like he starts free agency, signs this, that, and the other, whatever. And then he's like, let me give myself just a little bit more room. Let me tinker. Yeah.
Yep.
Huff from the Jets. Yeah, that's a big name for the Eagles. That's been thrown around a lot. Again, he's a young kid, kind of almost like a Josh Sweat in the way of like, his win rate, his aggressiveness to the quarterback. And he did it in a reserve role. Right. And, when Josh Sweat got that role, starter, he blossomed there for a little bit. Now, obviously, he kind of dipped last year. And I think that was product of a lot of things. So listen, maybe they're trying to do that. And he's young as well. So if you're going to trade Josh Sweat and bring in somebody like Huff, you think that Huff is somebody that, one, you're going to be able to obviously get cheaper, but two, somebody that's going to fit with Fangio better. And that's ultimately, I think, what this all comes down to is I think that if they were perfect fits for Fangio and what he wants to do and what he does,
There'd be no.
I don't think.
About them
Yeah, I
moving
think
off
they'd
from
just be
either
like,
one.
all right,
Yeah.
we'll figure it out. We'll figure out
Yeah.
the money.
Mhm.
Like so. Who are the players that Howie signed tomorrow that makes you think he's making mistakes? I'm not sure.
the
Yeah.
question.
Who are, so you're wanting us to predict
Okay.
players that Howie would mistakenly sign tomorrow? If he signed I don't know, Kirk Cousins? Is he a free agent, right?
Yeah, Kirk Cousins
That
is
would
a
be
free
it. That would
agent.
be a
That is a
mistake.
mistake. Yes.
That'd be a mistake.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I wouldn't necessarily like that. And we'll get to some of those positions to which I think you are trying to kind of talking about.
Mhm.
Trade Sweat, let Reddick play out his contract. I mean, Sweat disappeared for like 8 games. You're right. Reddick disappeared for quite a bit too.
Yeah,
Let's
they
be
both
honest.
disappeared.
It was not ideal. It was not a great end of the season. So let's not pretend like that didn't affect a lot of people. So appreciate those guys, everybody.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
For in the chat. If you guys are watching, please comment, talk to us, anything free agency wise. Even if you have a question about something we're not talking about yet, or maybe we already talked about, you don't know, throw it in there. We'll address it. So, Michael, also Jordan Davis needs to get in better shape so he don't drop off in the second half of the season.
100% agree with that.
I think measures are going to happen with him and Carter.
Well,
Because Carter also again hit the rookie wall, and I think Carter did an amazing job in that first half, and I think again it just caught up to him. I mean, these are college kids used to playing 12 games max.
Right. This is the most football that either one of them have played in their lives.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Jordan Davis, I know he was a part of last year's team, or the 2020,
before,
the 22 team, and like, so he got a taste of what that was like. But I still think like this is the most football he and Jalen Carter together have played, and Nolan Smith too, for that matter.
He didn't really
Well,
play.
he didn't play much, no. But like as far as like going through the practices, the reps every day, and like, look, man, these guys, there were no games against the cupcakes of like a Vanderbilt in the SEC
or the Sisters of the Poor.
Right. There were no games like that where they could just kind of take days off and only play a first half of a game. So you're looking at like probably 9-10 games that they played of meaningful snaps every game.
Yeah.
And now it's like that's great, bud, that you played 10 great straight games. Yeah, that's called September and October. We've still got November and December to go.
Yeah.
Strap in, kid.
Yeah. Anthony chimes in. I would keep Sweat and Reddick and let them just blitz. Also, they had an off year because the clown didn't know what he was doing and having read it in coverage and barely blitzing. Yeah, listen, again, I think there was a lot of factors. But they obviously are doing this for a reason. And it's because they feel like maybe there isn't the right fit. Maybe it is a money thing. Maybe that also factors into it. I just assume that if you're going to trade somebody like Josh Sweat and then sign somebody like a Huff, it's not going to be that much of a difference money-wise, if any. So,
sure.
Problem with Jordan Davis is he takes plays off. Eagles need corners. Yeah, we did talk about that.
Yeah, they do need corners.
Yeah. But yeah, so as far as the edge goes, defensive edge, whatever we're calling it now, they need to figure out Reddick and Sweat first and foremost, regardless. I would assume they probably get rid of one of them. So that means you have Sweat or Reddick.
Right.
Brandon Graham, who, let's be honest, is not going to really play a lot.
No,
it's his farewell tour.
He's coming there to get the applause from the fans.
He's pulling a Chris Long. Spot plays and just kind of giving some people a few breathers. So and then you have Nolan Smith, who I hope that they finally unleash him.
And so we have an increased role.
Yeah, and see what he has. So either you're going to look for an edge in that first round or two. And listen, I think once you get past our 2 picks in the second round, the drop off in edge
it's
is severe.
Yeah.
Is severe. So yeah, you may get a depth piece later in the draft, but nobody of significance, at
Right.
least, so we think. So then you got to look at some free agents and at least fill that room. There are, again, we talked about the kid Huff from the Jets. You have somebody like a guy I've loved for a long time, but he's finally kind of getting up there. Yannick Ngakoue. You have let's see, Hunter. Trying to just look here. Derek Barnett. Sorry.
It's always him.
It's always him. Yeah, man, there really aren't a lot. Solomon Thomas, if you like him. I feel like he's had a very underwhelming career. Yeah, there's really not a lot of great players here in this list here of free agent edge players. I mean, there are some names that you've heard of: Emmanuel Ogba, Carl Lawson, Randy Gregory, Marcus Davenport, Zadarius Smith, Chase Young, Leonard Floyd. I mean, they're names you've definitely heard of, and I feel like Chase Young wouldn't be a terrible name necessarily.
No,
I feel like you might be able to get him a little bit cheaper because of kind of the disappointment, but you're not going to be paying $25 million for him that Sam Reddick wants. You can probably pay half that. Would that be something worth adding to the Knicks and kind of saying, hey, Chase Young, you don't have to be the guy anymore. You don't have to be the man. Just come in and
be a part of it.
Be a part of it. Yeah. So I don't know. It's certainly going to be interesting if they end up targeting any meaningful edge players. Lane going to play as long as legal science lets him. I sure hope so, buddy. Also heard the 49ers might let go Javon Hargrave. Oh, wow. The Eagles should re-sign him if he becomes free. Yeah, sure. If he wants to sign a cheap-ass contract, that'd be great. Predictions for tomorrow.
I mean, aside from Payne.
Payne, right? Yeah,
obviously.
Payne.
I mean, it's Monday, so of course.
And if anybody doesn't get this reference, we cannot be friends.
Yeah, seriously.
Okay. I think the Eagles,
they will
start slow as they usually.
Yeah, I think
you won't hear a lot of things, but when it comes to Wednesday, I think that's when Howie we'll get some names officially. So
yeah, I think they'll be linked to a number of guys.
Oh well, come on, we're already linked to every free agent, even in other sports. Chop Robinson or the edge from UCLA, Alai Teilatu. I love him. Chop's all right. Jared Verse even too.
Sure.
I bet all of Graham's 5 sacks next year are in crunch time, like they almost always are. Yeah, he is a clutch player. Don't know how much playing time he's going to get. What about Chase Young? Just talked about him.
Yep.
Hopefully you heard that. If not, I will repeat myself. You just let me know, and I will do that. If the DC lets the LBs blitz and the DEs, the defense wouldn't be so bad because too stupid, aka Sean Desai, was too busy dreaming about KFC. Okay, well, I don't know his preferences in fast food, but listen, he didn't do a great job.
No.
Flat out. Fly Eagles Fly. What up, David? Sign Huff. Yeah, that's a popular name right now. Sign Ryan. He will be a stud. That's right, baby. The Eagles sign a linebacker, safety, offensive lineman tomorrow. Oh my!
Whoa!
An offensive lineman. So okay. Well,
I'm assuming somebody to play center or guard.
Well, again, we have not gone to the offensive side of the ball yet. We're almost there.
I figure I'll go grab us a couple more beers and we'll tackle the offensive side of the ball.
Okay. Well, we do have to talk about D tackle.
Okay, but let's finish D tackle. Then I'll go grab the beers.
Go get beers.
Yeah.
And then, okay. All right. We got our plan. Okay. So, D tackle.
Yeah.
You have Jordan Davis. You have Jalen Carter.
Mm-hmm.
You also have a Jomo.
Mm-hmm.
You have why do I always forget his name?
Williams.
Milton Williams. Thank you. Who I don't know. I feel like he can play kind of anywhere on the line.
Yeah, he's
Um,
he's a great sub guy. You can put him on defensive tackle. You can put
But
him
I
defensive
think
end.
again, when you look at, everybody keeps talking about, well, we lost Fletcher Cox. We lost Fletcher Cox. Who's going to replace those 650-ish reps?
I don't think you have to worry about it in that sense. Like, you're
No.
not looking at somebody to come in and take the 650
Well, no,
reps.
right.
You're looking to look a couple guys.
Well, you have a lot of youth in that position. You have four guys that we just named that are going to get a significant bump.
Sure.
In their snaps, probably 100 each, if not more, on average. But so I think if you go ahead and you bring yourself another guy to kind of rotate with what you already have, I'm okay with that. But people are acting like we just lost Aaron Donald, like prime Aaron Donald. And again, I love Fletcher Cox.
Sure.
I just, again, and he had a great year for everything that it was. Again, I just feel like we have the replacements in Davis and Jalen Carter that we need to rely upon. And we need to rely upon
that's why you
Milton Williams and
Ajomo.
Right. And you need to rely on those two reserves to, essentially play their parts as well. So I think you really only need a kind of supplemental piece. I know we just talked about Christian Wilkins, and I'd be all for it.
Sure.
I'd be all for it. I mean, again, you take a perceived strength and you add somebody like that.
Oh, it just
domination, right? Yeah. So, all right. So let's look at who might be available. There is DJ Reader, Grover Stewart, Sheldon Rankins. These guys are kind of old.
Yeah.
Justin Jones from Chicago. Didn't mind him. Obviously Christian Wilkins, Javon Kinlaw, Quentin Jefferson, Hassan Ridgeway. Wow, he's still plugging away. Al Woods. Oh man, he's still plugging away too. Linval Joseph. Man, he was with Buffalo last year. Jeez, I kind of forgot about that. Raekwon Davis from Miami. There's I feel like the play more likely is kind of get a vet because you have a lot of youth in the position. Yeah. And you essentially want to replace that vet part of Fletcher Cox and bring that in. But if you're going to go ahead and bring in, somebody like Christian Wilkins, I'm okay with it. I just think the price tag on him is going to be insane.
That's going to be a high price tag.
Yeah, it's probably going to be high teens, low 20s. Perfectly honest. So yeah. I need beers too. We'll grab them. We'll wait for everybody too.
Yeah.
So do that while we switch over to the offense. You'll grab beers. We'll drink beers. You grab beers, people.
And you drink beers.
Drink beers.
Yes.
This is how it's going to work. My phone and spell checking are messing my words up. Well,
I get it.
I feel like maybe if you drank more beers, the natural spell check would reverse and it would make the whole thing. Right.
Yeah, it would cancel out.
Right.
That would work well.
We need Queen or White. Would you take a flyer on first round talent like Devin Bush on a cheap contract? Wait, so that's kind of wait. We need Queen or White. Would you take a flyer on first round talent like Devin Bush on a cheap contract? Oh, yeah. Considering, listen, I'm all for it. I think you just need to sign kind of a stud.
Yeah. You need to hit a home run with that.
You do. And listen, I think Devin Bush would be a nice secondary guy. I said, hey, sign Queen. White is another one. And sign a vet guy to complement. And then you go out and you draft a linebacker. And then you have four linebackers with combination with Nakobe Dean. And you could run with that. I'm more than fine with that. In fact, again, backflips. If Byron Murphy is sitting at 22, do you think about it? Absolutely.
I love it. Yes.
Absolutely.
I told you the other day on the show.
You have to.
He was my guy.
I don't think there's very many positions that I personally would take off the table.
Yeah. I agree with that. Quarterback and offensive tackle.
Offensive tackle are the two that I want no parts of. And it's not for talent, it's for need. I don't feel like we have the luxury to draft for next year when we need help this year. That's all I'm saying.
Right. And I mean the other positions are positions
more important.
They're not. Well, but I'm saying
and you'll also have players in those positions available to draft. It's not like you're shit. We only have man, nobody drafted a tackle. We have 4 tackles right here. Like, well, what are we gonna do? It's not like that. It's gonna happen.
Right.
But if that does, all right. You know what? Then draft the
Then
guy that
draft,
fell.
yeah.
Oli Fashino. Go for it.
Yeah.
You know, whatever.
Joe. Oh, okay. Let's take him.
You want to go grab beers?
Yeah.
All right, you go grab beers. We're about halfway through. Maybe less than, maybe more than halfway. Defense took up a lot of our time.
Yeah. Defense typically does take a lot.
It really does, considering how terrible we are.
Yeah.
But yes, I would absolutely think about it. Although, again, I personally think D tackle is lower on my list of things that I find important position-wise for the Eagles. Did Isaiah Rodgers apply for reinstatement yet? That is a great question. I do not know. I do know that he has not been granted it. So the Eagles are 1,000% not signing Patrick Queen. That's a pipe dream. You're absolutely right. Don't.
That's kind of what the point of this episode is, though.
Well, right. But also don't crush my dreams, Dibes. I don't know why you got to do that.
That's kind of a jerk move.
And it's a little bit. Would you guys draft? Who would you guys draft as a starter or backup tight end? Eric, do you want to say the gentleman who I would love to take at number 50?
JT Sanders.
Hells yeah. Absolutely.
I love JT Sanders.
Yeah, me too. I like Byron Murphy a lot. Plus, Milton Williams is 99% most likely not returning after next season. Most likely.
Sure.
You're right. Sanders, JT.
There we go. Let's go.
All right. So let's move on to the offensive side of the ball. We had pretty much every position on the defense was their position of need. There needs to be some addressing of each position on the defensive side.
Agreed.
Defense, not as much.
Or offense, you mean not?
Or offense, not as much. Sorry. So let's start with the most important, and that's figuring out what this offensive line is going to look like.
Sure.
Jason Kelce.
Yeah. God bless, my man.
God bless. No longer with us.
Hey, one of the things I heard a long time ago, one of the guys says, we don't say goodbye in this business, so they say we'll see you down the road.
Okay.
Jason Kelce, we'll see you down the road.
Well, we will see you down the road. So obviously, I think the plan right now, and that could change, but right now has to be Cam Jurgens kicking inside to center.
Yeah, Cam Jurgens will be your starting center, and then,
right. That's why he was drafted, handpicked by Kelce, the whole 9 yards.
Mm-hmm. This was the plan.
This was the plan. I think the only thing that may change that is if you're sitting at 22,
and the accounting firm of Jackson Powers Johnson.
You're absolutely the accounting firm of Jackson Powers Johnson.
Yeah.
I think if he is there, you take him, and even then, I still don't think it's
in the guard.
You can absolutely put him in guard. So I don't necessarily think that is the determining factor. I think what will happen in camp and what will happen when the two of them are out there, Jurgens and Powers Johnson.
Well, yeah, if that was the situation, if you were to draft Jackson Powers Johnson, and then you say, okay, let's go into camp and let's see who wins the center position, who wins the guard position between the two of them. One of you is going to be a center, the other one's going to be guard. Go figure it out. And you let them just go in camp, and the position battle will naturally sort itself out.
Sure. There you go. That name Byron again. Don't let my guy go off. Oh God. I know. It's okay. It's okay. All right, buddy. You're good. You're okay. Don't let him get to you. Don't let him get to you.
We're good. We're good.
All right. So yes. So that needs to get figured out. First and foremost. So right now, I would say that they are going to need a right guard. Now, maybe they love themselves some Tyler Steen.
Sure.
He played pretty good when he was there and asked to play. So again, maybe you don't necessarily know what's on that big board for Howie right now.
No.
But I would
we
assume,
won't know until after the draft what his big board kind of looked like.
Right. I would assume though that right guard has to be an important factor on the offensive side of the ball. There are quite a bit of early draft picks that they can certainly use. Grant Barton, another one from Duke, is a guy. So yeah, I definitely think that they're going to look into it in that way. but perhaps more importantly, that they look into it via free agency.
Oh yeah, they could easily do that.
Now, there are some, older vets that they could grab, and even if they do draft a young guard, maybe somebody, mid, maybe a second, third round, whatever, somewhere in that range.
Mm-hmm.
But there are some really nice names. You have, some of the vets I talked about. You have Cody Whitehair, Andrews Pete, Laken Tomlinson. You have Connor Williams, Miami. He's a little bit younger. You have Halaponi Vaitai. You could bring back.
Him? Yeah,
you could bring him back. You have Dalton Reisner. There was one name.
And I keep looking for guys in their 20s and see.
Yeah, no, but there was one guy. John Runyon. That's the name.
Well, hey, obviously that name's
John Runyon Jr. Right.
Yeah.
The guy is a guard. He's coming off of Green Bay. He's 26, probably be 27 by the season starts. He's due for a big payday. That's a guy I would not mind looking into.
Not at all.
A lot of people have said, sign him, bring the legacy, bing, bam, boom, and call it a day. So,
but there could be a couple of legacy guys brought into Philadelphia.
Sure can.
And I know we just talked about the defensive side of the ball. And, we're going to bring him up a couple more times, I have a feeling, between now and the end of April.
Probably.
Jeremiah Trotter Jr.
Yeah, love that man.
Yeah.
Followed him ever since he went to the prep.
Yep.
And, he's the pipe dream for me. Eagles need depth at wide receiver. They don't just need depth. They need people
guys who can play, aside from A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith.
Yeah. Dives. I'd like to see Tyler Steen groomed into that Driscoll role.
Mm-hmm.
Cooper Beebe would be an underrated drafting by the Eagles that fans would hate, but I'd love it. I absolutely would too. I love Cooper Beebe. I think he's rising up draft boards, and I think he's somebody that you're probably going to have to get in the second round.
Mm-hmm.
And we drafted Steen in the third, correct?
Yes.
And listen, you would love for your third round picks and up to be starters.
Sure.
Impactful players. And I'm not saying that Steve can't be. But in this situation, Driscoll was kind of the utility guy, the sixth man, if you will, on this.
And look, I think that role
that's great. You need those guys. Yeah, you absolutely need those guys. It just sucks that it happens to be we used a third round pick on it when we could have went somewhere else. But anyway, chances Howie drafts a player from the great Texas Christian University, TCU.
I don't think he'd be opposed to
I don't know.
TCU.
I don't know if he's.
I mean, look, it's not Georgia, but I mean,
right. But yeah, listen, they got some good players, and
which by the after last year's draft, I really wanted the next day's headline on the Daily News would be a picture of Howie Roseman and just say the devil went down to Georgia.
That would have been a good one,
right?
Yeah, that would have been a good one. Man, missed opportunities, huh?
Yeah.
Not a ton of young talent on the guard free agency list, but there's a lot of vets. So if you want to kind of maybe bridge the gap, so to speak, you certainly can. I think it's very likely that they go and look in the draft, for that replacement, a right guard. If truly is Steen, if Steen does get the kind of utility man treatment, so to speak, the sixth man, if you will. All right. So outside of that, I want to stay close and tight to the line here.
Sure.
And we're going to go tight end too. And we just talked about somebody like a JT Sanders. But we need to figure out what's going on after Dallas Goedert. And again, this seems to be the MO of the Eagles. Go ahead and draft the eventual replacement, have them play together for a few years. They did it when Brent Selleck, they drafted Zach Ertz. They did it with Dallas Goedert when they still had Ertz.
Which, by the way, Dallas Goedert now the same age that Zach Ertz was
when they drafted Dallas Goedert. Exactly. Hence why I think it's very likely
Oh yeah,
that this is certainly a
the Eagles are
possibility.
looking at that second round, and like they've already got
Listen,
couple tight
there
ends
are a
in
bunch of great
Yeah.
guys that I think I would love to have. Theo Johnson again from Penn State is another guy. Ben Sinnott from Kansas State, Kate Stover, all great guys. But let's look.
Yeah, sure. Let's look at some free agents.
At some free agents that maybe, again, because I don't believe Jack Stoll or Calcaterra are going to be back. At least I would really like that to not be true. But you have some decent options to upgrade that position.
Sure.
You have somebody again like a Logan Thomas. He's a little bit older, 32, coming off of Washington, was a really good player. Will Dissly from Seattle is 27. You have Gesicki, formerly of Miami.
One thing I like about Dissly is he's used to that second tight end role.
Yeah, also
he's
very
played
true
in that spot,
yeah.
So you wouldn't be asking for a huge adjustment.
Yeah,
like I always think there's something like you wonder how guys are going to react when they're not in on every play.
Yeah, no, agreed. Yeah, it's a great point. You have Noah Fant. You have Austin Hooper, Robert Tonyan Jr., Irv Smith, who I absolutely love. Recently with Cincinnati.
Yeah.
You have Tyler Croft, Adam Troutman. Listen, there's some guys that are viable upgrades from what you have.
And again, I also know I noticed one named Blake Bell on there. He's another one that I feel like falls into that role. He's played that backup tight end role and has done a good job at it.
Yeah,
he'd be another one that would make a ton of sense because mentally he's going to stay sharp in that role.
Yeah. Talisi Fuega will be an Eagle if he's there at 22. Yeah, that's a great guy who played tackle guard, Oregon State. He'd be somebody to come in and immediately be your right guard starter for hopefully the next 10 years.
I gotta believe he's getting drafted before 22.
I kind of think so too.
Yeah.
Dives agrees with Marshawn Lynch. Play Albert O. He can play. Obviously not, because they would if they thought that.
Sure.
Listen, as much as I think we all got excited when Albert O got signed.
Sure.
What they tell us through their actions, we need to see. And Albert O couldn't beat out Jack Stoll or Grant Calcaterra for playing time. Something ain't right. I said, hold up, wait a minute. Something ain't right.
Yeah, I agree with you. If you can't beat out Calcaterra and Jack Stoll for playing time,
I mean, listen, we all love Jack Stoll's mullet.
Oh, sure,
it's glorious.
Hey, it's fine. You've got a beautiful head of hair. Like, congratulations. But I want a guy who can catch touchdown passes. I don't care if you shave your damn head. Just can you catch some passes? Can you get open?
Albert O is raw and needs time to get better. Well,
you might be right.
Yeah. Listen, I agree.
And there's a reason why they signed him.
Right. I mean, hi, Mitch. Who's Mitch?
Hi, Mitch.
Are you Mitch? It says your name's Bruce.
Hi, Bruce.
Is there somebody in the background we should know about?
Hi, Mitch.
I don't see anybody. Here it goes again. Mitch, I hope you're having a good day, and I feel like the Eagles will bounce back after a disappointing finish year. Bruce, who's Mitch?
Yeah, gotta ask who's Mitch.
Okay.
You're my boy Mitch.
Apparently, Bruce has had a few too many leads, which is right on par with us.
I know, buddy.
Oh man, that's too funny. Perhaps he's talking about the good old great Mitch Kofsky, who is on the edge of Philly sports, does Fly Like the Eagles podcast, which, by the way, selfless plug, I will be on this Thursday at 5:00 on this channel right here.
Yeah.
So check that out.
It's all good about there not being a Mitch, but I'm assuming it's a ghost. And you can see the ghost. Is it like the show Ghost? Can you see ghosts?
I could see that I am wrong, and I apologize.
Oh, good,
that's
bro.
all right. No,
we're just having a little fun.
Yeah. Mitch the meatloaf. Mitch the ghost.
We want the meatloaf.
Meatloaf. What's she always doing back there?
I don't know what she's
I don't
doing.
know what she's doing. Yeah. We all make mistake. Even Howie. Oh, come on. He got me.
That was good. That was good. Yes.
Frickin' Marshawn.
Mitch. Oh, is it the Eagles cooler? Do you have an Eagles
Mitch,
cooler?
the Eagles cooler?
Do you have an Eagles cooler?
I mean, I have that one.
I had like one of those small, like individual, like lunch pail.
Yeah, that's
cool-
one.
Yeah.
That's right there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh God, I've been sitting too long. My hips hurt.
Go get Mitch for him. Oh, mine's like an actual, like it looks like one of those like igloo coolers.
Oh, no, that's just this one.
Yeah. Here's Mitch. There's Mitch.
Well, that didn't work.
Oh, Dodge has a question for Mitch. Can we bring Mitch back?
Mitch told me to subscribe to the Edge of Philly Sports, as you said it was awesome. Well, obviously it is.
Yeah, no, Mitch. No, then Mitch was dead on.
Mitch was
that was a good tip.
Mitch was dead on right. I just literally hit my light here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, good. We are glad that Mitch
Mitch
brought you into the Edge of Philly Sports. Make sure that you do subscribe. You'll watch all of our shows. Mondays, us two right here, 6 o'clock.
We'll be right back here tomorrow.
Yeah, and then I'm personally on again Monday at 9, Party on Broad, and then Tuesday, Birds of the Round Table, and then like I said, I am on with Mitch, not Mitch the Cooler, Thursday at 5 on his Fly Like an Eagles podcast. Anyway, Matty B, new Eagles GM. Maybe. Yeah.
Bruce, we didn't take it as disrespect. You're good, bro.
No. Yeah, we're just having fun.
Yeah, it's all good, bro.
Yeah, we're all having fun. So Bruce, you need a nap. I do need a nap. I got a question for Mitch.
Yeah, fire away at Mitch.
Yeah, go ahead. We'll lay the question. Worthy with one of the second round picks, perhaps? I would do that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think there's a chance he lasts to 50. Not after he ran a 4.21.
Yeah, seriously. He's a guy that I think before the combine was looked at as a second rounder, and now with the 40 time, he's probably looked at that back.
He's probably like a fringe first, second guy.
Kind of make a lot of sense for Kansas City at 32, wouldn't he?
Don't say stuff like that. Why would you put that in the
universe? I don't want to put it in the universe. I'm just saying he's a guy that it would make sense.
I don't
like when we're talking about doing our mock drafts, which we'll be doing in Roundtable number 2, which I believe is tentatively set for April 21st.
Yeah, it is. Well, so yes.
It's written in pencil right now for April 21st.
So Eric and I, and sometimes we have a couple of the other co-hosts from many shows on the Philly Sports Alliance.
By the way, Dodge, I'm calling you out, man. You got to be at our next round table, man.
Oh wow, that's quite the call out.
Yeah,
I mean, the man lives in Lancaster. Lancaster.
What? I mean, I think it's just
Lancaster. No, I think they say Lancaster.
Okay, I think it's just a regional.
I think we say Lancaster.
Okay,
because we're used to the avenue.
Yeah, Lancaster Avenue. Yeah.
Lancaster Avenue.
Yeah.
Anyway,
sorry, I didn't realize you lived that far away.
Yeah. It sounded like you looked down the street. Jesus,
it's like in Collegeville or something.
It's like, where the hell is Collegeville? Bruce, do you feel we may draft the center? Yes, but I do feel like somebody that's more of a hybrid center guard. That would be able to slide in the right guard spot because I feel like Juergens pretty much has that locked up. JPJ and Graham Barton are absolutely on the table for the Eagles now. 1,000,000,000%, yes. Feel like Powers Johnson could be our pick. We have several needs.
Sure.
We do. Please, not another error for Kelsey.
He would just be taking over for Kelsey because Kelsey's gone.
Right. But yes, I get what you're saying. Nooms and
Dickerson was one, and then
theoretically.
Juergens.
But listen, I think he would, whoever it is, would come in and be that right guard. Yeah. I mean, again, I just don't see them drafting a center to come in and play center. The only I think if you're going to draft a center that high, like a Jackson Powers Johnson, I think there might be a conversation that happens. But Jurgens will be your center. I mean, honestly, yeah. Well, yeah. See, Dives Jurgens is going to be your center. The question is how does Howie view Tyler Steen at right guard? You're right, because maybe they love Tyler Steen at right guard, and maybe they're like, well, I don't want to spend early draft capital on this. We already got our guy. We drafted the third round. Like, well, look, good.
And they might like him in that role, but you also have to be open to the idea of if somebody like Jackson Powers Johnson or Barton, the guy out of Duke, Grant Barton out of Duke, if they're sitting there at 22. Well, guess what? We like them more. Yeah. So we go that route.
So anyway, we got off on the tangent, which we love doing, by the way. So keep the comments coming. Thank you so much.
It fuels us. It's fantastic. This is great. I love this.
So we've done offensive line. Mm-hmm. We have done tight end too. And let's go. We're not going to touch the backfield just yet.
No.
We're going to go wide receiver here.
Yeah. I figured that would be the next transition point.
So we have 2 wide receivers on our team.
Yes.
2 very, very good
excellent wide receivers. Absolutely.
AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, which I will say Dives sent something earlier and I didn't bring it up. He says, who do you think gets the first extension? Do you think it's Devontae Smith or do you think it's Landon Dickerson? I would think Smith, but
I would think it is too.
I don't know. I feel like maybe Howie's the kind of guy who would do that in the same day, you know?
Yeah, it might just be a matter of hours.
Right. Absolutely. Thank you for the information. I feel like that makes sense if they can do hybrid, which brings up the biggest question. Yeah, absolutely.
I agree with you.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna hold off on the Saquon talk right now.
Sure.
So listen,
we'll circle back.
We will 1,000,000,000% circle back. We have to. So wide receiver. We have 2 wide receivers right now.
Yes.
2 very good wide receivers, as I said, and we need to finally bring in an actual wide receiver number 3. Now, whether that's through the draft, whether that's through free agency, I don't know. But there are certainly some guys that can come in, maybe a vet, maybe, a younger a kid. But, I think the Julio Jones thing.
Yeah, I mean,
it was what it was, but you can't go that net.
No,
this was scrappy. This was scrappy. That signing,
sure.
You have an ability to bring in somebody that can actually play significant role here.
Yeah,
listen, you have players here that I think would fit really well. Allen Robinson, this guy has been all over the place. Doesn't really seem to fit because he's usually in a larger role. Comes in to be a number 3. Maybe that might be more of his speed.
That might be his niche.
Right. Odell Beckham Jr. I know a lot of people, he gets a lot of hate.
Sure.
But listen.
But at this point in his career, I think Odell Beckham Jr. will be ecstatic with the idea of coming in and play third wheel to Devontae Smith and AJ Brown.
Yep, Curtis Samuel, Tyler Boyd, who was just the third wheel in Cincinnati.
To me, he's another guy I look at it. Has he played that role before?
Yes.
And he has.
Sure has. MVS, Valdez Scantling, DJ Chark, Paris Kendall, Mecole Hardman, Jakeem Grant, Cedric Wilson from Miami, Calvin Ridley. Again, I think he's just going to want too much money.
Yeah.
But, man, can you imagine adding Calvin Ridley to this offense?
Whew.
I mean, and having him be in that kind of not number 1 role. I don't ever see it.
27?
Yeah, it's 29. Oh, yeah, I remember he lost it. He lost 2 years, essentially, a year from gambling, a year from injury. So, listen, there's a decent amount here. Even a Sterling Shepard. Oh, geez, I forgot him. So I just think, again, you need to upgrade off of what you had from Quez and Zacchaeus in both the 3 and the 4 spot. And I think there are some really nice wide receivers in the draft that could fill one of those roles. I feel like you fill one of the other ones with one of these vets.
Yeah.
And again, you need to raise the level of overall wide receiver.
Look, I think when it comes down to it, Jalen just didn't trust Zacchaeus or Watkins. And so he just wasn't going to throw to them. Like we saw, like Devontae Smith had a huge day in the wild card round. because A.J. Brown was injured, and so he didn't have anybody else to throw to. So anytime there was a completion to a wide receiver, you knew it was Devontae Smith.
Yeah, you can't trust anything outside
Yeah.
those two. So, yeah. So please be on the lookout. That is something I feel like people need to realize is a very, very important need for the Philadelphia Eagles, and I wouldn't mind seeing that addressed in the second or third round. Yes, where is it? I would do dirty, disgusting things to get Xavier to get to the Eagles. And the great follow-up, does your wife know this?
that is an excellent follow-up.
Yeah, probably not. What the wife don't know won't hurt her.
Yes.
Nice.
Good point.
Yeah, so that is wide receivers. Let's move on to running back. And let's address the elephant in the room that is Saquon Barkley, Penn Stater. The Birds signed Saquon. I will only watch 1 p.m. games next year. No way. I alter my schedule around wasting money on that injury machine. Okay. Well, that is a very strong stance. Very, very strong stance. I heard Barkley might be an Eagle. The Saquon stuff is a mystery. Why not just resign Swift? Listen, I could not agree with you more. I think anybody who knows me realizes that I think not only do I think Swift is a good fit for what Kellen Moore does, being a receiver, being utilized in that way, but he's obviously going to be a lot cheaper. Barkley is going to be in that $10 million range roughly. Swift, man, I don't know, maybe 6,
right?
Maybe 5. I don't know, 6, probably 6.
They're saying 6. Yeah, 6.7 is like the market value, which that makes sense.
Yeah. So I would rather, and again, I know it's only $4 million if you're, whatever.
Well,
maybe it's 7. I don't know, whatever the difference ends up being. I just don't know if it's worth it for a guy as Noom said, injury prone.
Sure.
There's a lot of pressure for him to come in, but you also look at him versus a much better offensive line and how much better Saquon could look.
Well, and I'm sure that's part of the reason why Saquon enjoys being linked to someone like the Eagles.
The difference between, I guess, if you look at it, the potential of Saquon and Swift is, as we say, roughly $4 or $5 million. You look at that, extrapolate that to another position, we might be talking $10, $15 million.
Right,
difference.
right.
So I get the difference is very mitigated, and this is one of those things where it's not going to kill you to go a little bit above what you normally would spend. I don't know where the rumors came from though. I don't get it either. So yeah, I just I don't know. I would kind of like to see how it plays out. But yeah, Swift fits more in the system than Barkley. I do agree.
I would tend to agree with that as well.
Saquon D's nuts. All right.
Whoa, all right.
Yeah, man.
That escalated quickly.
News is not for it. Matthew, thanks for checking in, buddy. Everyone who knows Saquon is an injury concern, but we said the same stuff about Swift. Very true. And he was pretty healthy this year. Huh?
Yeah.
Swift is only a 2-down back. You got to pay a 3-down back if you pay Swift. So I think more money evens out. Just my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, that's a fair opinion. But...
yeah, listen. I hope we don't sign any Cowboys. Well, listen, I'd be okay with Tony Pollard. Perfectly honest.
Sure.
That is for sure. So, yeah, listen. The running back position is kind of a strange one. You look at Kellen Moore's system and you look at what he did with Tony Pollard the year that he was in Dallas, and it was just Tony Pollard. And listen, he blossomed.
Sure.
And I think the same can happen. I just don't know if I want to pay extra money for somebody like a Derrick Henry, Saquon, or whoever name you want. I do like Swift. I like the way he plays. Sure. I like the way he runs between our offensive line. I like the way he's able to catch the ball out of the backfield. I don't necessarily agree that he's only a 2-down guy. I think he can be so much more, and I think Kellen Moore is certainly a coach that can unlock that. So that being said, if it's my money, I'm saving a little bit and I'm signing Swift. That's just me.
Yeah, I think I would tend to lean that way too.
Yeah. Even though I know Pollard is available, but it would be bad if we signed him for his Cowboy loyalty. Well, I don't know if that's why we would sign him, but also I feel like people are very DeMarco Murray gun shy.
See, to me, I look at Derrick Henry and I see DeMarco Murray as opposed to, like, say, Saquon or Pollard.
I
Just
get
the
I
tread
got
on
it.
tires
Well,
there.
yeah, I get that, but I just don't see how. I just don't see how Derrick Henry is not going to just run through people like he always does. It's hard. I like Tony Pollard a lot more to the Eagles than Saquon. Yeah, I actually kind of agree with that.
Yeah,
I think listen, if Saquon ends up being the guy, and if we sign him for under 10 million, all right, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be mad. Are there guys that I prefer? Yes. Is there money that I prefer not to throw to a running back? Yeah, obviously.
Sure.
And there's this trend and that trend of free agent signings over $6 million over the last couple of years and how well they've done, and it's not been great. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like I'm okay with Swift, and I feel like Swift in this offense is something I'd really like to say. If a team runs a pro offense, Barkley would fit because there is a fullback in front of him. But the Eagles' system is passing 80% and running 20%. Barkley won't get that many touches. Well, there's also that fact that they don't.
Sure.
But Kellen Moore also, again, is not 80-20.
No, and that's a bad narrative to throw out there that he would not
continue that Eagle trend of not running the ball.
Yeah.
Listen, I think given the situation, I don't necessarily think that that Barkley needs a fullback necessarily.
No, he didn't have one really in New York.
I don't think did he?
I don't think so.
Think he really did either. I just think you give him a much improved offensive line, and I think that's the curiosity that gets me.
Look, most teams anymore in the NFL don't even have fullbacks, so I wouldn't worry that much about the fullback position. Worry more about what kind of offensive line Saquon will be running behind, which to him, I'm sure he looks at the Eagles' offensive line and looks at it and says,
"Oh,
man,
crap.
that would be like heaven running behind that offensive line."
Right.
Get you a secondary before I get touched. It's great.
Bruce checks in. I agree about Pollard. I am just worried that he may not do his best for us.
See, these guys are professionals. I'm
not they get paid money. They don't care ultimately at the end of the day what team they're on. They're getting paid. They're not going to, do, it's not like Jason Kelsey didn't do well against the Cleveland Browns whenever they played.
He lined up there and he wanted to knock the crap out of the guy in front of him.
Exactly. So, I don't think there's any merit to any of that. Just again, I just don't think they're professional athletes. But
like Micah Parsons, like he grew up an Eagles fan. He got drafted by the Dallas Cowboys. He's playing his heart and soul to try and be the best Dallas Cowboy that he can, as he should.
Right. Yeah, I don't think he takes any.
He doesn't take any plays off against the Eagles just because he grew up an Eagles fan.
No, that's for sure. So, and literally, last but not least, I will mention the quarterback position. Mostly because it's Jalen Hurts and Tanner McKee.
Yeah, we could look at a backup.
Obviously, yes, that is. I would assume that the Eagles might be looking at a backup in the draft, maybe. But again, maybe having two young quarterbacks behind Jalen Hurts and that might not be the best available. But I will say, just kind of looking at maybe the potential. You have Jacoby Brissett, Tyrod Taylor.
Both those guys are fantastic backup quarterbacks. Would love either one of them.
Yeah. Bring back Gardner Minshew, Joe Flacco after what he just did. Bring back Carson Wentz. Oh wow, no, that can't be Matt Barkley. Was he in the league last year?
Mm-hmm.
What?
No, Matt Barkley was 100% in the league.
How is Matt Barkley?
He's doing the backup quarterback tour.
Yeah, but he's not even good enough for a backup.
But my man, he he must be able
He
to.
is
He knows so
stealing
many
money.
offenses. Like, good for him,
He
bro.
is stealing. Who's the guy? Chase Daniel.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, Tannehill is available. That certainly might be a name to look into. But
Sure.
yeah, listen, I think when you look at it, yeah, I think it would behoove them to bring in a vet.
What about like a Mitch Trubisky in the backup role?
I think he just got signed.
Did he sign somewhere?
Yeah, I think so.
I saw him appear on your list. Did he get signed somewhere?
Yeah, but Buffalo. No, is this right? Is this accurate?
I was gonna say, I know he was there last year in Buffalo.
Oh, I was just saying it like this. I don't know.
That's right.
I'm not a big fan of Trubisky, by the way.
For sure.
Um,
But Jacoby Brissett, Tyrod Taylor, those guys to me make the most sense. If you're looking, just they're going to be the backup quarterback. Maybe even a Sam Darnold. Like, okay.
yeah.
Like, and look, you're not looking for the backup quarterback to move your needle. Like,
Well, obviously, I'm just saying that
Yeah.
they need to get somebody in there as far as being able to be a vet. So yeah, see, did sign with the Bills. I knew it. I knew it. John Henne. You mean Chad Henne?
maybe he's got a brother, John. So
The whole Henne family just stealing money. So, all right, folks. Well, there you have it. There is kind of a breakdown of positional needs for the Eagles, who might be available in free agency, what they may end up doing otherwise. But all of this starts tomorrow at noon with the legal tampering period, and then Wednesday at 4 p.m. Players can officially sign and not pull a Frank Gore with
thank you for the memories, Frank.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, his son Frank Gore Jr.
is
in the draft this year.
Yeah, people are saying we should draft him late and then cut him.
Well, it's not his fault. His dad snubbed us.
Screw the whole Gore family. That would be great. Just have both of them officially members of the Eagles, but never play
a snap for the Eagles. Yeah,
that'd be so great. Hey, thanks. I'm not sure if you're talking about Mitch the Cooler, Mitch the Ghost, Mitch Trubisky. There's too many.
Job, Mitch.
There's too many Mitches going on. But yeah, so stay tuned. Make sure that you guys are locked in to the Edge of Philly Sports. Make sure you put on those automatic notifications right after you subscribe if you already have not. So do that because it's going to be a wild week. So we got shows coming at you all week. Again, starting with us at 6:00 for the Football Smack Talk show. Party on Broad at 9 tomorrow. Tuesday is going to be the Birds of the Roundtable at 8:00. So we'll probably have a really good idea, but probably by that show of who might be signing some official stuff. But I kind of this is kind of one of those things like I almost want to take off some time from work because I don't want to miss anything. You know what I mean? I don't want to be like in a meeting and like read my phone and be like, "Oh my God, the Eagles just," So, Bruce, appreciate it, buddy. You are the star of the show today.
No, Bruce, you did not mess up at all, bro.
You stole it.
You the man. Love you, Bruce.
No, we do appreciate it. Seriously. Much love to Mitch.
Yeah. Thank you, Mitch.
Yeah, absolutely.
Seriously, whoever that Mitch was that turned you on to this show.
It's Mr. Kofsky. Mitch Kofsky. So
okay.
But yeah, so we do appreciate him and everybody Hardcore Sports Network that he's created. So but yes, listen, you guys can follow us at Philly Sports PSA. In fact, where is this thing? I thought this thing was supposed to be showing. There it is.
Woo-hoo.
I'm this guy. He's that guy. If I'm probably doing it wrong, because it's probably over here. Because I usually have the mirror, but anyway. At Philly Sports PSA for Philly Sports Alliance. That's all of our shows. All of our shows are on the Edge of Philly Sports Network. So please make sure that you follow us on Facebook, Twitter. In fact, he's following us right now on Instagram. Appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for the comments. Too many people to name, but appreciate you guys joining us for this. We do this every year. We do 3 roundtables. Usually we have a few more people joining us. But we usually do one for free agency, one for the draft, and then one kind of a recap season preview.
Yeah.
We'll talk about the schedule. We'll talk about, this, that, and the other, whatever we got to. So, but yes, don't look, Eric. Don't look.
Okay.
I'll block it.
Thank you.
It's trigger warning.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So thanks, Marshawn Lynch. Appreciate it, buddy. But yeah, so please make sure you follow us and all that fun stuff. Join us for the next off-season roundtable. As you said, it's going to be
April 21st.
And it's going to be
at the Italian American Club
in
Wayne, PA.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we thank you guys for joining us here this Sunday afternoon, because obviously not too many people had much to do. So thank you. We appreciate the love and the support in the comments. So have a fun free agency week. We'll talk to you throughout the week through all of our other shows. Eric, do you have anything to add before we hop on out of here?
No.
Okay. Man, a few words. Appreciate that. So for the Philly Sports Alliance and the Football Smack Talk Show, I am Ryan.
I'm Eric. Happy football, everybody. Only 179 more days to go.
There you go. It's a pretty short time to the start of the NFL season. So, all right, folks, we'll have fun tomorrow with the legal tampering period starting at noon. Other than that, go Birds. We'll see you the rest of this week. Later.